Every single season, within the first couple weeks of fantasy hockey, there is an insane amount of panic out of managers across the board, whether it's players underperforming, whether it's players overperforming, or whether you just don't know what to do with anyone on your roster given their performance as a whole. That's the purpose of this video. Is we're going to take some of the most popular players that have been in our Discord that people have discussed in comment sections, and we're going to give you a couple options in terms of who to buy, who to sell, and who to hold on to in this year's fantasy hockey season. Let's get right into the video, guys. All right, before we dive into Mr. Evgeny Malkin here, we always want to preface the fact that we want you guys to be as patient as possible with players, which typically means, like, if you drafted anybody within the first 3 to 4 rounds, you typically don't want to give these guys away within the first 3 weeks of the season. You don't want to be buying on people that are really, really hot out of the gate. It's just never a good idea, just given the low game sample. It's a full 82 game season. It's just never a good idea to look at that small of a sample size and understand that I'm going to make a decision that's going to impact my team for the entire season just based off a couple games. So with that being said, let's get into some sell highs, guys that are really, really hot out of the gate right now and have had a ton of success. And one of them is Evgeny Malkin. He's currently center left wing eligible, and he's got 10 points in his last 7 games. His value is never going to be higher than this point. I feel like typically Malkin does start out of the gate pretty hot in most seasons. I feel like we've talked about him in multiple buy, sell, hold videos or sell high videos even, but the average time on ice is just an alarm bell for me. He's only playing under 17 minutes. He is getting that power play 1 time, but he's 39 years old with an injury history. But he's definitely been better. He's played a couple full years, so it's not like he's, you know, an absolute liability out there, but he does have a little bit of risk associated to him. And I think it's very possible that he could end with a 60 to 65 point season. We've seen that over the more or less the last couple of years out of Malkin, or at least he's been on pace for that. Again, given the fact that he was injured last year and played under 70 games, he was on pace for over a 60 point season. But again, I think just where he's at right now in terms of value is just so high that I want to be selling him off as quickly as possible. He's also skating with Justin Brazeau? See, I don't even know this guy's name, dude. And Brazeau's playing like prime Ovechkin right now. I think he's got like 14 hits and like 7 goals or something just absolutely absurd, to where like he's incredibly over-indexing in terms of his performance. And I think Malkin playing alongside of him has found some success alongside that. So overall, as a whole, I would use this hot start out of Malkin to go and get somebody that's struggling early, or that you know a manager is unhappy with, or that you can just leverage and try and sell high on. And I think Malkin is a great option for you guys to do that. Now, Nick Schmaltz is another great sell high option in my opinion. He's also got 10 points in his first 7 games. His value will also never be as high as what it is now. I think there is a little bit of sustainability here. Like, he's playing line 1 and power play 1 alongside Clayton Keller, and they've moved Barrett Hayden up onto that top center position. So Schmaltz is skating with Keller at 5-on-5 and on power play 1. His shots per 60 have also jumped from 7.3 somehow to over 11, close to 12, which is an elite shot volume. I do think he could have a 65 point season, and he's pretty much safe for 60 every single year. So I think, like, in terms of like whether it's conversations that you have with individual managers about, you know, trades, or just you like sending a trade offer without any type of context whatsoever, Schmaltz has a ton of value associated to him right now, and we want to use that value to get a player that we weren't able to get in our drafts. It's still early, guys, so remember that. I do think, again, that there is some sustainability here with Schmaltz, but I do think that, similar to Malkin, his value is just a lot higher than what it should be right now. He's never scored 25 goals before in his career. He typically does not have a really high shot volume in terms of what we're seeing out of him, at least to start the season right now. Like, multiple games where he's had over 6 shots. I don't know if Schmaltz has done that ever in his career, but you can get somebody that's like 5x the value for Schmaltz right now, at least in terms of where you draft him, or if you picked him up off of waivers. Use this and sell high on Nick Schmaltz. Don't even get me started on Spencer Knight. I've seen a ton of people talk about him in the Discord. I've seen a a ton of people just be like, is he legit? Is he the real deal? And it's somebody that we were high on in past seasons in terms of potentially being a breakout candidate, or that just had a ton of upside playing in Florida, who is a really, really strong team. But now that he's on the Chicago Blackhawks, he's had a solid start to the season. And when I say solid, I mean unbelievable, like unsustainable numbers out of Spencer Knight. He's got a .937 save percentage and a below 2 goals against average with still only just a 500 record. And Chicago is like over the moon. Like, people are thinking that like, oh, Chicago is so much better this year. They barely have a 500 record on the year. I think it's a lot of overhype around him. I think there is a great opportunity for you guys to buy into this hype and sell high on him. Just don't be the sucker that is going to fall for grabbing a guy like Spencer Knight on what could be, again, another bottom 5 team in the National Hockey League. The Hawks' underlying numbers are not good. On top of that, he's their 3rd in high danger scoring chances against, and a bottom 10 in Corsi and Fenwick for, which just means they're getting peppered a lot of the time. And look at some of the competition that they've been going up against early in the season where they found some success. Again, the 3 of the wins are against Utah, St. Louis, and Anaheim. They've had losses to teams like Vancouver, teams like Montreal, Boston, Florida. So it hasn't really been a crazy, like, difficult strength of schedule early on for the Hawks. And I do think that Knight will continue to get some volume, especially because like they really don't have anybody else to go to. But for him to continue to perform at the rate that he's performing at, I think that would be absolutely unsustainable. So I recommend that you guys sell high on Spencer Knight. Onto some of our holds, and Andrei Vasilevskiy, I almost slotted into a buy low candidate. I do think it's going to be pretty difficult to get a guy like Vasilevskiy, who's usually considered one of the top 3 goalies, both in the National Hockey League and in fantasy hockey. And the Bolts have had a really tough start to the year, 0-4, and Vasi hasn't been great at all, with a well below 900 save percentage and over a 3.5 goals against average. Like I said, they kind of struggled out of the gate, and I do think he is a solid buy low if you need a goalie and people are frustrated with him early on. They've lost pretty much every game by 1 goal. And in 4 of their last 6 games, they've lost by a goal. You can see the loss to New Jersey was by 2 goals, and they won and beat Boston by a goal. And Vasi didn't even start that game. I just think they're too good of a team, guys. Like, the Bolts are such a solid roster from top to bottom. John Cooper is one of the best coaches in the National Hockey League. I wouldn't worry about it right now. I would give it another 2 weeks before you start to panic. If they're still in a similar situation or they're really struggling out of the gate, then at that point, I think like that organization as a whole just might make any type of change that's necessary. But I'm confident in John Cooper. I'm confident in this team from top to bottom. They look so deep across the board with some of the additions that they made, both at trade deadline last year and then into the offseason, that I'm just shocked that they're struggling this much out of the gate. It's just more so the stats are just so lopsided that I'm not even concerned about it. Things like this happen. You have to look past it, and I'm definitely holding on Andrei Vasilevskiy. Moving on to another hold is JT Miller of the New York Rangers. You guys saw me draft him alongside Artemi Panarin in the Fantasy Puck Content Creators League against some of the best fantasy hockey players in the world. So that should tell you that even though I have my reservations about the Rangers as a whole, that I still have confidence in the player and the production that he is going to output. He's had only 4 points through his first 8 games to start the season. I am a little bit more panicked with the Rangers. Again, I did kind of shout it out earlier that I wasn't too high on, you know, any of them. You were able to get them at such a discount this year that I think they were great value in a lot of drafts. It's going to take some time for them to adjust to Mike Sullivan's style. Like whenever you get a new coach, whenever you start a new season, preseason is one thing, like training camp is another thing, like practice is one thing. You're going to need some time in order to adjust. And I think the Rangers are in a position to where they understand that they have kind of a short rope here, just given how bad last year was. And we're already seeing JT Miller play a huge role in this team moving forward. Like, he's now over 20 minutes average time on ice. When he first got to the Rangers last year, he was playing around 18 minutes. So that's great out of the gate. Their shots per 60, or at least Miller's shots per 60, is up from 6.3 to 7.2. As you can see, he's shooting the puck a lot more. His shooting percentage is down from last year. He's only shooting 10% as he only has 2 goals through his first 8 games. You typically see him shoot around 16%. He doesn't have a crazy high shot volume, but he does hover around that 30 goal mark. And the Rangers as a whole, like their power play is currently in the bottom 10 at 15% right now. We're not seeing a ton of success there. So I think a lot of these things can bounce back. I think even though I have my reservations about the Rangers this year, I'm more confident that it's not going to end up like what we saw last year because of the coach, because Mike Sullivan is one of the best coaches in the National Hockey League. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to adjust and move forward. So I'm holding JT Miller right now in the Creators League. I'm not worried about moving him. I'm not worried about what I'm seeing out of the gate right now. Give it another couple weeks. And if, again, similar to what I talked about earlier, if they're still struggling like the Bolts are, then I would start to panic at that point. But for right now, hold on JT Miller. I would not be moving him. A lot of you aren't going to like this one, and that is okay. But let me know in the comments down below what you're doing with Matej Michkov. I am holding. I understand a lot of people are panicking about him because of where they took him in drafts, because of how excited they were, because of how much we were hyping them up as a whole. And the fact that Torts was gone, we thought everything was going to be smooth sailing. He's going to play over 18 minutes a night. And that just has not been the case. Rick Tocchet, for whatever reason, maybe he's jaded from dealing with Elias Pettersson last season and JT Miller and whatever that looked like. But it doesn't look like Michkov is really getting the deployment that we initially anticipated. 2 points in his first 6 games. All of the underlying numbers and metrics don't look good either. His shots per 60 are down. His scoring chance creation is down. So it doesn't look good from a numbers perspective, but I want to pump the brakes. And a lot of you, I'm sure, have already dropped him or are looking to trade him or get rid of him, but I'm personally holding on him in a couple leagues. He came into the camp out of shape. Rick Tocchet has been very open about this. He's saying that he needs to get back up to speed. It's going to take a little bit of time here. And again, new coach, new system. So there's some opportunity still in terms of adjustments for a lot of these players. They just got guys like Cam York back into the lineup. Trevor Zegras is adapting those to this system as well. All of the lines seem to be in a blender, both power play 1 and power play 2. There's been a lot of changeover just in the last 6 games. So I'm not too worried just yet. We know what Michkov looks like at his peak. We know what he looks like when he's playing at his best hockey and he's playing over 18 minutes a night. He has over a point per game production. We saw it in the second half of the season. So it may take some time with Michkov, but if you can afford to be patient in your leagues, I would highly recommend that you do so. I just see a lot of panic for no reason this early on. It's still very early in the season. It's one thing if we get to, like week 5, week 6, and we're still seeing the same thing. Like, I think at that point, then your hands are kind of tied. But for right now, I'm still holding on Matej Michkov. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys are doing if you are a Michkov owner. On to some of our buy lows, and one of my favorites right now is Nikolai Ehlers. He's left and right wing eligible. He's got 1 point in the 6 games that they've played so far. His average time on ice has been great, which is a great sign. Like, normally Ehlers, if you see a game with Nikolai Ehlers playing over 15 minutes in Winnipeg, then you're over the moon. It's hilarious how much of a statistical anomaly that we're seeing out of the gate, where pretty much everyone on his line, whether it's Seth Jarvis, whether it's Sebastian Aho, are just getting a ton of points and production, and Ehlers has just registered his first one last game. So it's honestly, like, it's shocking, like, how ridiculous some of the stats are. It's like looking at the, like I mentioned earlier with Vasilevskiy, looking at the fact that the Bolts are like 1-5 right now. It's just like, you don't believe it, right? Like, it's so out of there. So I'm not worried about Ehlers at all. I think a ton of production is going to catch up to him. He has over an 11 shots per 60 right now. He's got over 20. I think he's got 22 shots on the year in total. So I'm not worried about Ehlers. I think he's a great buy low right now. A lot of managers are kind of panicked about him and the role that he's seeing. Even though he is on the top line, he's not producing, which is very, very frustrating as a manager if you've seen this for like 6 games in a row now. Sometimes it just takes players a little bit of time to adjust and get involved and figure out some chemistry with their top line. So I think Ehlers is a fantastic buy low right now, and I highly recommend that you guys go out and try to get him. Another great buy low is Filip Forsberg. He's got 4 points through his first 7 games with only 2 goals. I think a lot of people are already jumping to conclusions about the Preds, how it's going to be very similar to what they saw last year, how they're going to struggle constantly. They're not seeing the amount of production that they normally do out of their top line, out of their top 6. They've got rookies in there. They've sent down guys. It's just been, again, like it feels like the rope is a little bit shorter with this team right now. And that you can use as a beneficiary to you in terms of getting a guy like Filip Forsberg. His shooting percentage is currently below his career average by a couple percentage points. This is a good sign. This means there's obviously still some more goal scoring to be had with Forsberg. He's got an elite shot volume. We know that he has hit over and close to that 300 shots in a year mark. He's got great hit numbers on top of that. So don't let the team success, whether it's really good, whether it's really bad, scare you away. That's a pretty general rule that we try to use across the board for all fantasy players. Like, again, don't relate necessarily team success to player success. So even if the Preds continue to struggle, I would still love to have Filip Forsberg on my team. He's going to continue to be elite in terms of his production moving forward. He's got 40 goal upside, and it might be the only time in the season where you're really going to have a shot at potentially getting a guy like Forsberg. Like, he's still going to cost you quite a bit to get, especially depending on the manager that you're dealing with. But I think he's well worth the price if you can get a guy like that and trade off a couple pieces, do like a 2-for-1, maybe a 3-for-2, something that's going to help you out more long-term. And Forsberg should be a target for you guys from a buy low perspective. Finally, finishing up our list, a lot of people have talked about this. Evan Bouchard, he's got his first point through his first 7 games. It's still going to take a lot to get him. Like, I think managers now, especially now that he got a power play point, are like, oh, okay, phew. Like, we're good. Like, I'm totally okay right now. But some people also still panic on just seeing that. They look at like a game where the Oilers have a bunch of goals and the fact that he only has 1 point in it. It's frustrating to kind of see as a fantasy hockey manager, especially early on. So it's still going to take some value on your end to go and trade for this guy. But it could be the only time ever that like Bouchard becomes available. His shots per 60 are up from last year, which is great. He's up to an 8.7 this year, close to a 9 as a defenseman is great. The whole Oilers offense, like McDavid just got his first goal recently, so they've kind of struggled. I'm anticipating they're going to heat up. Hyman's going to be back on November 1st. At least that's the anticipated date, so they should get a bump there as well too on that power play. Whether or not like Bouchard just firing the puck at the net and Hyman getting tips or Hyman getting rebound goals, you guys have seen it all a million times at this point. So I'm confident that Bouchard's going to get back on track. And we saw a great season out of them last year. So, like I said, there aren't going to be a lot of opportunities to really get yourself an elite defenseman. And I think if you are trying to target one where managers are frustrated around a player, it's Evan Bouchard. And I highly recommend that you guys go and grab him as a buy low target as well. Guys, that will do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below who are some players that you have questions about. I will be in the comments answering all those questions. We're going to have a drops video coming out next week, so stay tuned for that. I know there's a lot of questions around drops and players and waiver pickups and all that stuff. It's still early on in the season, guys. So again, we preach patience here on Fantasy Puck and do not panic on players, especially this early on in the season. Let some sample develop for sure. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of the video, some buy lows, some sell highs, some holds, what to do with certain players, and I will be in those comments answering them for you guys. So thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and go Jays go.